Hello, everybody, and
Hi.
thank you for joining us today for the Inner Strength Empowerment Hour. I am Lori DePietro stand-in, and these are the coaches. I will let you introduce yourselves, ladies.
I'm Joanne.
Hey, and I'm the other Lori, but I'm going to go by LT.
Okay. So we are so excited to be with you today for our first episode of the Inner Strength Empowerment Hour. I am also, so if you guys see me looking to the side, I am also looking at my phone. So if there are comments, I can read them. So thanks so much for joining us. Anna says hello. Hi, Anna. So today I wanted to talk about, for our inaugural talk today, about how women treat each other, how we mistrust one another, how we sabotage ourselves by sabotaging one another, and how we can come together and have a more positive tribe. And so that's something that the three of us are really passionate about. Because of our work in my group, the Plant Power Revolution, and the group within that, which is our program group, the Plant Power Army. It is such a positive environment. And so it's gotten all of us thinking about what it looks like, to be in that type of environment, and how nurturing it is, and how much you can succeed versus what it's really like in society a lot of the times. Now, something that's got us thinking about this, I don't know if any of you guys have read Oil. We have a book club within our group. And so we're all reading Untamed, and we are going over that this weekend, actually. And it's been an amazing, wouldn't you guys totally recommend the group, or recommend the book?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your guys's, I mean, maybe we'll kind of start with this because it's a good intro into what we're talking about. What are your guys, your takeaways from this book overall?
This book really, really shocked me and got me thinking about things I've not ever thought about. And it kind of pulled the rug out from under me, and it, took me down a little bit. And I had to crawl back up and go, holy crap, this is really, stuff I've never dealt with before. And one of the biggest things in it was learning to trust your knowing, like your inner knowing, and to listen to that, and to kind of figure out if you're really you, or if you're what everybody else told you should be.
Right.
So that's been a big takeaway for me.
Right. Trusting yourself and really listening to yourself instead of what everybody else is telling you. And that's gets to the heart of what we're going to talk about today. What did you think, Lori?
Yeah, I think that too, exactly what she said. And also because whatever we were wanting to do, maybe we dreamed about it when we didn't know we couldn't dare to dream. And then when that didn't happen, we settled.
Yeah.
And I just thought, we settle too quickly, too often.
Right.
And we just take it as the status quo, and we need to just step out a little bit more and dream the way we used to be before we had all these restrictions on ourselves, because that's going to be the ultimate what we really want to do.
Yeah. Tammy says that she's here and she's about 70 pages in. It is such a good book. And I saw, as you guys know, we often get schooled by Facebook memes, right? I saw this Facebook meme that said that no one ever says girls will be girls. And that's why we grow up thinking being a boy means freedom and being a girl means restriction.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, that's so true. It's, we grow up with all of these rules about what it means to be a good girl and a good woman. And I think that is sort of the crux of why we're so competitive for one another. So the one thing that she talked about that really, impacted me, she made a comment in the book And this is in the, if you guys have read the book, it's in the chapter Comfort Zones. And she said that, I think, well, that might be a different one. Now I don't know because I read the whole book. But she's talking about how when women are in a group, when they make a decision, they look at all the other women in the group before they say anything. So she was talking about how she went in, she had her kids there, and she wanted to know if they wanted something to eat. And she has teenage daughters and a teenage son. And the teenage son had some friends there, and they all said something different. She's like, "You guys want something to eat?" And they all were like, "No, yeah," they all just kind of answered for themselves. Then she asked the girls, and none of them said anything. They all looked at each other first. It's sort of like how, we all get up and go to the bathroom together or something. Like we're all waiting to see what the other women are going to say. And so, I felt like that was so interesting because it's so true. Do you guys feel like when you're in a group setting with women, like, what does that mean to you? Like, what are some of the feelings? Like, what do you think it is about being in a group setting with women that makes us want to act that way?
I think there's comfort in conformity. I think a lot of people feel like, if I fit in with the group, then I'm okay. And it's kind of scary to be yourself. And if you enter a group, like I was kind of thinking of this, like when I enter a group, if I'm the last one to arrive or whatever, I kind of have a little bit of a different perspective, only because I'm so fascinated by people that I really like to get, I want to know your story. Like I want to know where you came from. I want to know what you're into. And sometimes that doesn't, that vibe isn't returned because I think so many people want to conform. So sometimes I felt like when I walk into a group and I'm like, "Hey, how's everybody doing?" Or what's your story? Nice to meet you, whatever. And they kind of look at you like, "Why are you talking to me?" Maybe I'm not wearing the same thing as them, or, if I don't fit the mold, all of a sudden that feeling of like, whoa, inadequacy comes like flowing in, even if I don't want it to. It's just a vibe that you get, and
like high school.
You very quickly know that you have to conform.
Yeah, it's just like high school. It is such a weird, like, clicky thing that we do. Do you feel like that too, Lori, or what's your experience?
I have felt that way before. I know exactly that feeling that it is. And when I think back about it, I think that we're judging ourselves so much and we're so harsh on our own self that we feel like if we have a voice and say something, we're going to be judged because we judge ourselves. Right. And so we don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to get anybody upset. And that goes back to conditioning, even as a little girl, because we wanted to do good. And you wanted to get the good grade, because when you get the good grade and you don't get in trouble and you do everything just so, that equates to love, because I love you more and I'm more proud of you when you get the gold star. Right.
And Tammy said the exact same thing that you did, which is it is a feeling of being judged.
Yes.
And so, and that's, so going to what you're saying, Lori, what do we think being a success as a woman is?
I have an almost 18-year-old daughter. She's a senior in high school. And I asked her this question this week. And I'm going to she said immediately, not even 1 second delay, not needing a man. I thought, my goodness, where did this come from? Because I don't know that I exactly exhibit that, but I think this generation definitely thinks I can do it, I can have it. But I think success, and I think that part of it's true, but I got married so young and been married so long now, I don't even know the difference in that anymore. But I do think success to me as a woman is somebody who just stands her own, and she's not swayed by the other, and she has that forward gait, those shoulders are back, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And your opinion, you can come with me or not come with me, because I'm still going that way. That to me is what a successful woman does. But also she's humble, and wants you to come with her or either show you, she's not going to do it in a way that says, and I'm a little bit better than you, and y'all can just stay back here.
Right.
She wants to build you up and come with her.
So, all right, let me ask you first, Joanne. What do you think about that? Do you think that's what society thinks a successful woman is?
I think that's a nice picture of what success would look like, but I don't think that we have that as a blanket statement. I think it's kind of success means you do everything. You have to have the perfect job. You have to have the perfect family. Your kids have to all be in line and dressed perfectly. You have to have a great marriage. Your house has to be clean. You know, you have to be fit. And I feel like that's the standard that they expect with whoever they is, expects women to be that, to claim success. It would be very nice if we could all feel like, yeah, I want to take everybody along, but to do that, it's very difficult, I think. I think there's a standard that's different for women where, you know, it's very difficult for us to get to that point. And so I think it creates a situation where women do have to step on each other. And it's not fair that we have to do that, but it creates a kind of a nasty competition that shouldn't have to be there.
Right. And that was my ideal successful woman. Now, whether that happens or not, but that is the ideal.
Right. And so, so that's the dichotomy, I think. So as women, we are raised basically, or, you know, society tells us that we have to have it all and do it all and be it all. And that's a lot of pressure. So you have to, like, I grew up with that. I think everyone here, most of you guys will remember that commercial for that perfume Anjali, where she would be like, I'm going to bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, and never let you forget you're a man. Like, that's
right.
Like, she's cleaning the house, she's working, she's taking care of the kids, and she's pleasing her man. And that is what a woman is supposed to be. And it's like, we are trying to do, you know, whether you feel like you're mentally following that commercial or not, that's what we're told. You have to be, you know, work, you know, stay at home. I mean, it's both, but stay at home moms get flack, and so do working moms. So basically there's no winning there. You have to be looking good no matter what you're doing, period. You can't be, I think, going back to what Lori said and Joanne said, I think both of you guys, like, it's, you can't be too successful, because then, like, I know Glennon talked about in the book about how we look at women who are too successful and we feel like they're cocky. You know, we're just like, well, she just thinks that, you know, the sun rises and sets on her, except we say it a lot harsher than that. So like, you know, I think that it's almost a no-win situation for us. I don't know how you guys feel out there in Facebook land. Tammy says, I do dare to be different now because I want to be. But but I also know, Tammy, that you have gotten a little flack for that. So that's the thing. And from women, not from men. So I think it sets up a competition, because you're looking, who's the best? Who is the one who's got it all? Who's the one who's doing the most? Who's, you know, and then it's, you know, Facebook and Instagram and stuff makes it worse, because people are only presenting the very best.
The very best. Yeah, nobody's putting the absolute junk out. Yeah, it's almost like a brag book for adults.
It is, absolutely. I mean, and we're all guilty of it. I'm not, you know, if I am having a horrible day, I usually don't post about it on Facebook, you know. So I think that's the thing, is that, you know, there's no winning, and it sets up a situation where also, you know, I feel like women, as here we are, you know, we make 77 cents on the dollar to a man. we're really, I mean, we're 50% of the population, but we're nowhere near that in our government or even in female CEOs and big corporations or anything like that. So I feel like you know, when you know that that's the case, it sets up competition because you know there's just not as many spots for women as well. I know that, you know, as a personal trainer, you know, there's like when I started, you know, more than 10 years ago, there was definitely female personal trainers. But we weren't as good as the men, basically, is the way that it was looked at, you know. We were there and that was nice, but it wasn't, you know, as good. So it's like, I think in so many different, you know, in different professions, you're seeing this. And feel free to comment, you guys, if you have your own experiences about this. And when I say you guys, I'm looking over at my phone because that's where I see your guys' comments. Because this, I think, is kind of the crux of what sets us up to have problems with one another. You know, I think even, you know, I always noticed when women are like worried that somebody is, you know, like trying to take their man or something. And I always think to myself, like, nobody can take your man unless your man is willing. You know what I mean? But we blame it on the women, you know, and I'm not saying that these women are great, but I'm just saying we feel like that's the problem is, you know, like, so I don't know, it sets us up for, I think, failure. I don't know. What do you guys think? Or do you have examples? Go ahead.
Well, I just think that if you're confident in your own knowing and your own trusting yourself, I think that those things can just, you know, they're going to come at you, but I think it's, you know, you're setting yourself up then to be prepared for that and then it won't take you down.
Right. Confidence in yourself.
Yeah, confidence in yourself and having an inner group or a small tribe, whether it's a friends or group or a small group of family that really know the real heart of who you are. And then that's the beauty of age, as I find as I'm getting older. It just, what the other people think does not matter near as much to me as when I was 25 and 30. It just really doesn't.
Right. That is the beauty of,
it is a beauty of aging.
I tell people, like, when I turned 50, I barely had a filter before, but when I turned 50, it was totally like, boom, like, this is who I am. Like, so, it's, you know, having self-confidence is the key, which is hard when you have a society telling you if you don't look a certain way and behave a certain way. I have an example of this, and I'm going to ask you guys for examples. So, in my profession, I'm in contact with a lot of different life coaches. And, you know, I made a post yesterday where I was saying that one of the things that I said was that I'm 50% love, gratitude, compassion, and high vibes, and 50% really strong boundaries and F off. And she sent me this, one of the life coaches sent me a message, and she said she didn't like that I said that. She didn't think that was okay. And but here's the thing. It's okay if she doesn't like it. She doesn't have to. You know, so it's like, but we feel the need to tell each other, here's how you should feel. Like, that's not nice. And as women, we always want to be nice. We always want to be thought of as nice. We always, you know, that nobody wants to be thought of or told that they're a bitch. So it's like you are more careful, whereas a man doesn't have that. You know, if he's being a jerk, then it's whatever. But with women, it's all about, do they think I'm nice? You know, and we get trapped in that. And I just think it's like, so when she first sent me that message, I was like, you know, I was like, well, maybe, you know, I need to look at that. And then I was like, you know what? No, I don't care, because that's just how I feel. I am that way. I am actually 50% love, gratitude, and high vibes, and 50% strong boundaries and F off. That's how I am. And I think a lot of us are like that. So why do we try to act like we're not that way so that we can seem more nice? So I don't know. Do you guys have examples of those types of interactions, good or bad, with other women?
Well, I used to be a teacher in my previous life before kids came along, and I worked in a really small school. There was one grade level per, one teacher per grade level, and it was all women except one male teacher. And it was the worst environment I've ever been in because of the women and how the way I came into this school was that the teacher got sick, which I understand that the other teachers were, really, really loved her, and it was a sad situation. So when I came in, they kind of already had that, against me, that I was sort of replacing her or whatever. But over the course of the year, it just got worse and worse. And I thought, it was my first year teaching. And I thought, okay, I had all this energy and I had just learned all these new things. And a lot of the teachers had been there a long time. So, I would do things like I would be out in the hallway putting up a bulletin board or whatever. They would literally walk by me in the middle of all this work I'm doing and go, yeah, that's not the bulletin board Vicky would have done. Or I was like, they really honestly just let it out and said, or I wanted to paint my classroom because I didn't want the walls to be white. And no, you can't paint. That's how Vicky decorated the room. You can't do that. And so I got a little bit of it that they were kind of missing her. But then what gave them the right to do that? And as a new teacher, I felt like I even went to the principal, who was also a very not nice woman. And I said, look, what am I doing wrong here? Because of course that people thing came out. And I said, is there somebody here that would mind mentoring me? If I'm doing this all wrong, can I get with another teacher and they can mentor me into how I'm supposed to do this? And I'm telling you, if I would be in that situation right now, if somebody came along and said, why are you putting that up? That's not the way Vicky would have done it. I would be like, no, but this is going to be awesome. You just wait, But back then I was like, I spent a whole year of my life really just hating who I was because I thought everybody's telling me I'm doing it wrong and there's nobody saying I'm doing it right. So it was a very toxic situation. And I think it was because it was all women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like if you would have set better boundaries, because you're a different person now.
Yeah.
So it would have gone differently if you would have set better boundaries at the beginning. Like if you would have had the presence of mind to say things differently and do things differently and not be so like, what can I do to make you like me?
Yeah, I had no idea boundaries were a thing.
Yeah.
I seriously had no idea that you could set boundaries, that they even existed. I just thought you had to do to fit in. And in fact, I went into one of the other classrooms one time to take over for a different teacher, and I was wearing, and even with teachers, they have sort of a uniform, and it changes, with the time. But like when I was a teacher, it was very much the little platform shoes and the jumper dresses and the turtleneck, and you were, little Mary Jane shoes, and that was kind of the teacher look. And I had pants on one day and a button-down shirt, like a dress shirt. And I went into one of the other classrooms and I knew the kids because I had seen them at school, but one of the little boys, he was 6 years old. And he looked at me and he goes, why are you dressed like a man? And I was like, excuse me, what? So even I looked different. The little kid, 6 years old, was saying that's not how teachers are supposed to look. That's not how girls are supposed to look.
Well, right. So that's not how women are supposed to look. Yeah.
Right. That's not how a woman is supposed to look.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this was a whole year of toxicity, but it was very much, I think, based on the standards for us.
Right. And Susie says, nice sometimes doesn't get you anywhere. Totally true. And Don says, I'm just learning boundaries. Isn't it crazy, Don, that how we can go through so many years of our lives before we learn this, right? So I know for me, it was almost, probably 38 years, and for some of you guys, it's longer. I mean, we're all on a different path, but it's revolutionary when you figure it out, for sure. So Lori, what do you have in terms of examples?
I remember as a young mother, and you have your children in different kind of groups, whether it's a play school group or whether it's a music group or a little dance lesson or something. There was a sense of one-upsmanship there, because my kid is already doing this, this, and this, and your kid's not. And they wouldn't say your kid, but it was the way they said it in such a way. And I really felt it, I think, the most at that area, in that particular time frame. Yeah. And it's not lost on me that at that particular time frame was when my weight was really starting to become a problem. We're not at the 10 and 20 pounds yet. Now we're in danger territory and becoming a problem. So I'm becoming smaller, not as a person, but as myself. Yeah. And so when you do that, you start to listen to what other people say and you just shrink a little bit. Yeah. Now, even though years have passed and, you can get over certain things, I try to just personally have the mantra that I try to exhibit fruit in my life. I try to exhibit love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, and self-control. Now, I had a problem with self-control. And the problem was during that time period, it trumped all the other things. And it just beat me down further and further and further. And I felt like I was spiraling down. And I had a lot of great things going on around me. And I was miserable because I couldn't see them. I couldn't see it.
That brings up two really important points. One is that we feel like then our kids are in competition. So what is that saying? What message, whether we mean to or not, are we giving to our kids?
Yeah, so you've got to be the best. You have to win. You have to toe the line. I mean, like
my son he has ADD, but he's also he's also gifted. So he's just a like every other kid, he's just a mixed bag of whatever, but it's like at the very beginning, in kindergarten and first grade, they stick him in Title I because he's not learning the same way as everybody else. Now by fifth grade, he's reading at a high school level, but still it's like, what is that doing to him when he's young to know that he has to be taken out? You know what I mean? It just is, it's not exactly the same as what you're talking about, but it is like there's this competition, not just with us, because then now I'm a mom of a kid who's in Title I. You know what I mean? So
then, and you project yourself onto this child because you want to feel better, because that makes you look better. And I felt like that my whole life growing up. I mean, my dad is gone now, so I can't talk about it, but I felt like that my entire life, that I needed to be some kind of a highlight reel. And I don't know who he's talking to about it. I don't know if it's somebody at work or somebody he played golf with or something, but it's kind of like, unless I hit the highlight reel and I can say she's doing this, this, and this, then it's not, it doesn't matter.
My mom was like that. She would actually say to me, why can't you be like this person? And why can't you be like this person's kids?
I felt like my life needed to be a bullet point of successes. So you could go tick 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, well, good. Because guess what? That makes you feel better, because all that success that she's having is because of me and how I'm parenting. No, that's really not
and so the other thing it brings up, though, is what you said about how as we become larger on the outside, we often become smaller on the inside.
Oh gosh, I did that.
It's almost like padding. I felt like that when I was really, really heavy, it was an insulation from the world. I could stay home more. I didn't feel well, so I had lots of really great excuses why I couldn't be out in the world interacting, doing things.
Always isolate.
It helps you isolate, and you hate it, but at the same time, there's a comfort in it.
It's a comfort in it.
Yeah.
And when you want comfort, what do? You isolate, and then you eat some more.
Yeah. Christine says, I used to work at a restaurant and the atmosphere was toxic. Everyone felt they were better than everyone else. The women were vicious to each other and focused only on looks, hair, makeup, and whatever. Customers used to freely comment about us. I never fit in and felt like I had to be someone I wasn't. Thankfully, I got out of that situation for sure.
For sure.
But that's the thing is there's a restaurant close to where I live here in Cleveland where that stuff is still going on and people post about it in certain groups, and it's a really toxic environment. So it's, women are hired and judged on how they look in their uniforms. And this isn't like a Hooters or anything, which is a whole separate conversation.
Right.
This is just like a regular restaurant.
A regular
so it
restaurant.
really is, it's a lot of competition and a lot of pressure, which means it's no wonder. And when you're raised in an environment where you feel like you're competing with other girls, because maybe your parents felt like that as well, it's no wonder that we treat each other the way that we do. So one conversation that the three of us have had, I believe, was about how men experience this differently, it seems like, because they can be in competition with one another and be totally fine with each other at the same time. And they could even have, like, I don't know if you guys have experienced this and the people who are watching, but like, I've experienced this many, many times where, a man that I'm with or a man that I know will be like, get screwed over by another guy and they're totally fine with each other after that. Like, whereas women, we're like plotting the death of this other person and they're like, it's fine. We're okay.
We allow feelings to get hurt where men do not put the feeling into the equation.
They don't.
They shrug it.
It's bizarre to me, because I'm like, how can you be friends with that person when they did this and this? And they're like, like, I don't care. But like, the question is, how do we feel like the way that we judge one another as women is holding us back as a society? Because as I said when we started this, like, we are underrepresented and we are making far less than men and we do have less rights. So, I can't help but wonder if the fact that men have no problem banding together no matter what, and where we are constantly looking for reasons to pit ourselves against each other, I don't know. And what do you guys think about that? How is that playing out in society?
Well, I think you hit it right on the head with, how we're emotionally attached to things, and that's what kind of holds us back. But I also think that that's underlying is our superpower, is that we do put an emotional attachment to things. And that's why I feel like places in the world that are run by women, they do have an emotional attachment that underlies everything, and they can look at it from a totally different perspective than a man can. And I feel like, especially in our society in America, well, and other places, but we're taught that's a weakness, to be emotionally attached to something or to have a sensitivity about something is a weakness. When if we just turned it a little bit and looked at it the way it should be and realized that that's our superpower. We are emotionally attached, so we can think of this in the full picture, and we can make decisions based on the full picture and not just money or power or whatever. We're connected. We are connected to each other. And I think that's where a lot of the competition comes in too, because if we look at being emotionally attached to other women, if we all bond together, imagine what we can do, because we are so much more capable.
Absolutely.
Than allowing ourselves.
Yes, I truly agree with all of that, because, I saw this visual yesterday and it was the perfect visual. I posted it on our Army page, and it was the high school girl getting the crown of homecoming queen. And one of the girls in the band, who was a majorette, was behind her, and she had total joy that her friend had won. I mean, it was the definition of joy. It gave me goosebumps looking at it, because if we could be thrilled with something like that and do something for the greater good, you know, it's that decision of the greater good. Because when we help straighten somebody else's crown, it not only fills their cup, it fills our cup, and it fills all the women's cups around that are watching this thing happen.
Right.
I mean, it's just a win-win for us as women if we help other women.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that the problem is we do just feel like there aren't enough spots for all of us. There's a feeling of lack, like there's not enough room for everyone. And part of that is a little bit true because of the way our society is built up. But like you said, if we band together, then that creates a momentum. So how, I think, a lot of the women, I mean, we have 100 and I think almost 170 women in the group now.
Mhm.
And so many women have said that the group is revolutionary for them, and that has been a huge part of their success. What do you guys feel like makes our environment different?
I'll let Lori go first.
Okay. What I picture, because when I think about this as the group, is I picture there's a lot of women that are vulnerable right now. They're a little bit scared. They're not sure about a lifestyle change. They know they need to do something. They're not sure what. They get really excited about thinking about nutrition and eating the right way. What this group does, it's kind of like throwing a lifeline to the people. And we're saying, we're going to help you. We've been there. We've done it. We're going to show you how to do it. We're going to stand side by side with you when you do it. And it's not going to be as scary as you think it's going to be, because you've got to think back when you first made your change, Lori, and I made my change and Joanne made her change. You're a little vulnerable. You're a little, I don't know if I can really stick because I failed so many times. Is this really going to help? Is this going to be the one? But this group is different in all those other times, especially for me, because I took the lifeline and I did what you suggested to do and had the plan laid out. And I did the steps necessary. And here I am.
Right.
I wouldn't have guessed that I would be in here talking about you with something like that to other women. I just wouldn't have thought that.
I think that, right. So when we are, I meet a lot of, Tammy agrees with you. I think that we meet a lot of women and we're in a lot of situations where weight loss is a competition. I talk to a lot of women who are like, well, my friend is doing this and she's lost this amount of weight, or my sister's doing this.
Right.
And they feel bad about themselves when other people lose weight because like, well, why am I not losing weight? It must be my fault. So you do start to feel bad about yourself, and we get beat down over years of yo-yo dieting. And so the last thing you want to do is come into a situation. I remember going to a Weight Watchers meeting and they call out what your weight loss is. They call out what you did. And it's like, it's the epitome of competition. So it isn't in our group. I wanted to create a space where it's a safe space. To be real about it is that this is not a competition. This is us all trying to get healthy inside and out. This is what we're doing. And so I wanted it to be a space where people could be real. And when they're having a great day, have a bunch of people come in and say, you are a rock star. And when they're having a horrible day, have a bunch of people come in and say, you are a rock star. And so what are your thoughts, Joanne?
Well, I think one of the ladies in the group one time made a comment that it felt like a sisterhood.
Yeah.
And I think up until this point, I didn't really think that that was a thing that really existed, because I had never really seen that in reality in my life. But I think the thing that makes it real is that, you've created a space where where it is safe and where you do work with people on the mindset and on peeling back those layers so that you don't have to feel in competition with somebody. And when the people in the group do start to get a little bit negative, if they do at all, everybody swoops in and sets them straight, like, hey, we're moving forward here. We're not doing that anymore. And that's not going to serve you. And I feel like, you know, I saw a quote one time that said something like, we can't rise when half of us are held back. So I feel like when we're all together and we're all in there helping each other move forward, we're working towards a bigger thing, like you called it a revolution, but it really kind of is, because when women get their voice back and their confidence back, that competition just melts away and we move forward together instead of trying to do whatever on our own.
Oh, yes. We celebrate each other's victories. That's for sure. And when you have, like you say, there's not going to be any perfect person or any perfect process, but, you know, we're saying, let's pick it back up. We're not going to,
we're not leaving anybody behind. No man left behind.
It's not going to be a weekend and then all of a sudden a week and now we're a month into this and what do I do? We're not going to leave you there. Yeah.
So Michelle says, I took a job and it was the most catty and toxic environment I ever worked in. I only worked there for 6 months, but it has made an everlasting effect on me. It eroded my sense of self-worth and left me with PTSD. But she says the coaching and support in our group is what has made the difference and what stands out. Tammy says, although I have stumbled along, I have made great strides each time I have stumbled. I pick myself up each time and learn from it so I can move forward. I'm in a good place and stronger. I'm supported and more comfortable in who I am for the first time in my life, and I'm not afraid to say no. And Linda said, and Tammy and Linda are also in the group. Linda says, I've been set free from so many of my self-limiting beliefs.
Yes.
So yeah, I think, you know, when you create a safe space for people to grow, that's the key. And we're all doing it a little differently. I love the diversity in our group. We have stay-at-home moms, we have working women, we have all different, you know, races and you know, religious backgrounds and, you know, all this stuff, but we're all united. And I think that's, you know, that's the difference. I think that
we're all in it for the greater good. Everybody.
You succeed when you are in a positive environment, just like, you know, what Michelle was saying. If you're in a toxic environment or in an environment where you feel like you're in competition with everybody, it's not sustainable. And so yeah, I think that this is at least brought up. Linda says it's a soft place to land, safe space. Yeah. Which I know you've said before, Laura. It's a really good way of putting it. Yeah. So, you know, I wanted to bring this up. I think, you know, as we go into in our group, we're going to be talking about Untamed. You know, I think it's just a really good book to read. I think it's a good thing to think about how we can be more supportive of one another. And part of that is using our voice. You know, part of that is standing up for yourself and creating boundaries and not being afraid of your own success or the success of somebody else. You know, to really, because whenever I get envious of somebody else, I don't know how everybody else handles this. If I find myself being envious, I look at me, I'm like, oh no, what's going on with me? What's going on with me? Because if I'm not, I must not be happy somewhere. If I'm getting envious of this person, I know it's not them, it's me. So it's like when we can all do that and help one another grow and really be genuinely interested in someone in helping other people, which I know both of you guys are. Michelle, who just started with us, says, I'm getting better every day. That is my new mantra to help me flip the script. That's awesome. Kelly says, I'm just getting ready to start. You ladies make it exciting and down to earth for me. I can't wait. So,
and I would say that you are the ultimate leader about straightening our crowns. You really are. I mean, you're a wealth of information. You're our guru. You're our leader. You're just doing it. I already told you before. I know you have a cape. You have it somewhere. I don't know.
You know, I do. I appreciate that so much. I think, you know, what I have is a lifetime of bad decisions and hurt that made me think, how can I use this to help other people?
Yeah.
And I think that's all any of us can do, because we all have the backstory, right? We all have it.
Everybody has one.
Right. Whether they want to admit it or not, they have it. And if we could all just feel a little more freedom to be out there with it, not worried about being judged, but being out there with it for the greater good, to like really be like, yeah, I went through this, and here's some mistakes that I made, and here's some ways that I got through it. And hopefully that can help somebody else, because that's how, to me, that's how you make meaning out of your life, because bad things do happen. The question is, then what do you do?
Right.
Do you just become bitter and hateful? And, you know, which, you know, as you know, sometimes it's F off, but, you know, depending on the person, and if you're setting boundaries in the right way, that's going to happen. But there's just so many people that you can help, people who are open to it, you know, who really need
Yeah.
it.
And you're changing their lives and their family, and it's the ripple, and it goes out into the community. It's far reaching. It's not
It
just
is.
you. It
Well,
goes
right,
further
because every
than the
person we help,
individual.
right, every person we help, it's helping their family and helping
Absolutely.
people that they come into contact with. So it has a ripple effect, no matter, you know, how we're helping someone, whether you're, you know, helping a homeless person, or you're helping, you know, tutoring a child, whether you're helping your own kids, or you're, you know, working in your church, or you're doing something like what we're doing to help other women get their bodies and their voices back. It doesn't matter how you help someone, there's always far-reaching effects. And that's the cool part, is the effect that we can have while we're here. Any parting words, ladies? Not really.
Let's just get out there and do it. Let's just get out there and change. Make a
That's great.
decision. Flip the script.
I think that, yes, I think that we hear things like this. I think what I would challenge everyone who's listening to us today is think about, what is one step that you can take to help change your relationships with other women, to help empower your kids, to, you know, to help, you know, your sons realize that women don't have to, you know, they can look different. Like, they don't have to, you know, wear a dress, a uniform, or that, you know, or your daughters to not be in competition with one another. So there's so many things that we can do, steps that we can take, but it does start with us. It starts with feeling good about ourselves. So thank you so much, you guys. I love you guys so much. And I am so honored to be doing this with you guys every Friday, because you both have these great, like, different perspectives, and it's so exciting to talk about this stuff. Next week, we're going to be talking about, why do women feel the need to be in charge of everyone's health in their life? Why do we need to be in charge of our spouse or our partner? Why do we feel the need to take care of them when they're grown-ass adults? So that's going to be our next conversation, because I have that conversation with women all the time, and it's such a great thing to talk about. But hopefully you all have enjoyed this today. So thank you for joining the Inner Strength Empowerment Hour. This is recorded, so you'll be able to watch it in the group anytime. And we will see you next Friday.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, everybody.